Hey guys, welcome back to some more Patreon exclusive content. Today I want to talk to you about the ethics of sleeping with a woman who's already in a relationship. Maybe she's got a boyfriend, maybe she's even married, but she's coming on to you and you're keen to just have some casual sex, have some fun. There's a girl who's available, maybe she's even pretty, maybe she's even nice, maybe in different circumstances you might even consider her to be high quality. So what's the right thing to do in this situation? This video is inspired by a question I received from one of my patrons, but I'm not going to read out the message. It's quite detailed. It's got a lot of personal, factors there, and I don't want to get bogged down in that. I just want to go straight to the theory. Now, one of the things that he asks is, he feels as though his conscience is holding him back, and he says, well, it's just hypergamy. Maybe the husbands are chumps, he asked me to give the real red pill perspective on this, if he's a high value man, should he just kind of come in there? And I know that I brought this upon myself because the early part of my channel was called Red Pill Interviews, back when I thought that the red pill meant something other than what I now believe that it means. And so I don't bring this up very often because I'm just trying to distance myself from my past and put as much distance between myself and that label as possible, because I just don't want to consider anything that I talk about to be red pill, but a lot of my audience still comes from that red pill perspective. That's how they found me. And so some people will say, well, Alex, your views are red pilled, and I can't really stop you from thinking of it that way, but you should know, like the people here as part of my Patreon community, that regardless of whether or not you call me red pill or something like that, we're going to have different definitions about what the red pill means. And based on my current understanding of what that label refers to, I don't consider my views to be red pilled, because I'm all about creating functional relationships. And herein lies the contradiction. The red pill was sort of born from this idea of enjoy the decline, like everything's going to shit, so get yours. And that really appeals to guys who've had no success in the dating market for a lot of their lives. Now they're empowering themselves with new information, they're tapping into their masculinity, and it's like, all right, well, let's go and get ours, let's go have some sex. And so here you've got a situation where he's got his old beliefs, like, no, ordinarily I'd always do the right thing, but now I'm a red-pilled man, and maybe I should just, go and have sex with this girl. Who cares what it does to the husband? That's not my responsibility. Is that the right thing to do? I come down firmly, and you can disagree. Maybe that's just the stage of your life, but absolutely not. That's not the right thing to do. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I don't think that your conscience is going to be able to escape the knowledge that what you're doing is wrong. If a woman has a husband and that relationship is not functional, the correct way for her to be dealing with that is to go and speak to her husband. If they have children, and I know because of the message that's been sent to me that yes, there are children involved, you sleeping with that woman has a massive impact on their ability to raise a healthy, functional family. You can't wash your hands clean of that. And I'm not saying it's 100% your fault. In fact, it's largely not. It's largely her fault, the husband's fault, whoever created that toxic dynamic where she's trying to go out and cheat. But regardless, you are choosing to put yourself into that situation, and you deserve some of the blame. You can't play the innocent victim here. It's not as though she misled you into believing that she was single. You know that this woman is already married, and if you're participating in that situation, then you lose any moral high ground in the future if somebody was to take advantage of you. So if you were married to some woman, then she goes off and cheats with some other guy, you now can no longer be angry at that guy or any kind of moral outrage, because you did that once and you know better. You know better because you're writing to me in this situation. You're asking for my advice, and you're doing that because you've heard a bunch of information on the internet that seems true in terms of evolutionary psychology, stuff called red pill, but with that comes a mix. And one of the reasons I don't like the red pill is a bunch of very cynical, worldview in terms of selfishness and, misogyny and things like that. And you think, well, if they're true about all this stuff, maybe it's also right to really get in there and just do whatever I want and fuck everybody else. I never understood why the so-called good information of red pill had to get mixed with that cynical worldview, and I absolutely don't. I think that this is a toxic situation, and a woman who is trying to cheat on her husband is automatically the kind of woman that you should be disqualifying for a potential person to spend any time with. Now, I can understand from a purely biological point of view, you're thinking, all right, well, I just want to have sex, so what do I really care? But it doesn't work that way. See, you have this instinct inside yourself that knows when you're sleeping with a low-quality woman. And there's a danger in that, because you could be potentially pairing your genes with hers. Your biology doesn't understand what a condom is or what the birth control pill is. This is far too recent in terms of human history. And so there's a part of you that registers that every single girl that you have sex with is a potential mother of your children. And then you're responsible for those children. That's you continuing on in the world. And you want to do that with as high quality women as possible. When you sleep with a high quality woman, you feel good about yourself afterwards. When you sleep with a low quality woman, you've got buyer's regret, or like fornicator's regret, as it may be termed. And that is that feeling of, oh gosh, what have I just done? Now, this woman who wants to have an affair, that's not a red flag, that's a disqualification. This is not the kind of woman you're going to want to get involved in. There's going to be potential drama, and your self-esteem's going to suffer, because you're going to have that voice in the back of your mind that says, why can't I find a high quality woman to sleep with, somebody who doesn't have to lie to people in order to get what she wants, somebody who hasn't made huge mistakes in her life which have led her to the point of wanting to sleep with people outside of her marriage. People get quite cynical about female infidelity, especially in the red pill community. They've got all this like the truth about how much women cheat, but the data is actually pretty clear on this. Men cheat more than women in every single age demographic except for one, and that's in their early 20s. And in that age demographic, yeah, women do cheat slightly more, but it's the only time. And that's because, they're trying out their options, they're young and beautiful, they're indulging. In all the other age demographics, 30s, 40s, 50s, plus, it's men who cheat far more. And the percentage of people who do actually have adultery is quite low. It's like 20% or lower, and it gets really low in certain demographics. And so you can't rationalize this away by saying, just the fact that she's having an affair doesn't mean that she's not a high quality woman. Everybody has affairs. This is really, really common. It's not. Very few people statistically actually do have affairs, because I think fundamentally most of us recognize that that's not the right thing to do. That's immoral. And my apologies to anybody out there who has, been with a girl who's had an affair or who has had an affair. I'm not saying that I know your circumstances. Potentially there are instances where this was the best choice that you could make, and we'd need to speak about that. But on the whole, can we at least agree that if your life has gotten to the point where you need to lie to people about the actions that you're taking and, obtain something by fraud, then things have not gone fantastically. Obviously, there was some mistake that was made at some point, and a really, really high quality woman isn't going to be finding herself in this situation. And so why do you want to get involved with somebody like this? When you sleep with her, I think you're going to have that fornicator's regret, that voice in the back of your head that says, aren't I better than this? Don't I deserve more than this, than to just be somebody's dirty, guilty little secret while she's lying to the person who she had children with? That's not a really strong masculine place to be in. Obviously, if you've come from a really, really, unsuccessful dating life up until recently, and now you've actually unlocked at least some level of sexual abundance, and these women do want to sleep with you, that's an improvement. Obviously, you've gotten more desirable, and that's to be celebrated. But I still don't think that you should be satisfied with, oh, great, now married women want to have affairs with me. I'm killing it. No, be more ambitious than that. Want more for your life than that. Say that your new standard is that you're not going to be anybody's side piece. If women want to sleep with you, if they want the privilege of being able to sleep with you, which is an amazing experience, then they have to bring honesty and or integrity and authenticity to that exchange. They have to be at least a minimum level of a decent person before they get that right. All right, just checked my notes. That's all I wanted to say on this topic. Sorry if this one seemed particularly harsh. I just want to reiterate that I don't know everybody's personal circumstances, and so I don't mean to come across as unnecessarily judgmental, but I really think that the world has enough suffering in it, and if people are having affairs, there's a lot of suffering involved in that. Don't add to that suffering. Don't be one of those people that's like, oh, the world's already shit, who cares if I make it shitter? I just don't think your conscience is good, and life is not good that way. Forgive me if I just seem unrealistically idealistic in this instance, but can we just strive to be better than that? If we see things that are terrible, can we be the ones that say, well, I'm not going to contribute to the terribleness. I'm going to be a person who's actually striving to make things better. Now, I'm saying that for the sake of everybody in the world, but also for the sake of you, because I genuinely believe that you will feel happier inside yourself and about yourself if you're working to make things better rather than just exploiting people to try and get some selfish desires met. That's my perspective. Hope you guys enjoyed this Patreon exclusive video. I want to thank you for your ongoing support, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.